What's up, everybody? Welcome to another race analysis. I'm your host, Jared.
I'm Bryce.
Yo, we are at the Mac Race Series here in Rock Hill, South Carolina. Real quick, if you guys are on Instagram, follow us at newtype.cycling. We post all of our race shenanigans, gravel rides, cross stuff, and all of our we got our poker rides. If you want to see some like lucha libre on a bicycle shenanigans, definitely check that out. So quick rundown, this is the Cat 4-5 race. It's a 50-minute crit. The field is around 20 to 25, give or take. And we are just 1 or 2 laps in. And Bryce, what do we got going on?
Yeah, man, at this point, the group's pretty lazy. It's lap 2 or 3, and really what we're doing is just kind of drawing a rider broke off early, just to see what was going on, see who the players were in the field. So all we're doing right now is just slowly dragging them back in. Not a huge threat, so you don't see any big efforts, but yeah, it's just work to do at the beginning of the race.
Yeah, that was pretty ballsy for this junior rider way up the road. You can see him, and yeah, he from the gun he went in on the attack, and so we let him hang out there for a little bit, and then you decided game on, son, and started slowly, casually reeling him in. And yeah, right here at this downhill transition, we swarm them up, and it kind of signifies like the check mark of the race. Like, all right, boom, it's game on, let's go, and it helps all the momentum of the race continue out. So
yeah, it really kind of set the stage for like a lot of people attacking. So what was going on at this point right now is we clearly just caught up with him, and so people start swarming to cover the next attack. So as you see, I kind of float to the back with the intentions of just kind of recovering at this point, get my heart rate back down and get ready for the next one.
Yeah, and so if you guys watched any of our previous races, like Rock Hill Criterium course here, it's a 1.1 mile course, and the elevation change is pretty outrageous for a crit race. This is honestly more of a circuit race just because how long it is and the elevation change. So for you, Bryce, let's give the listeners a little bit of a rundown of you, your riding style, and your experience.
Yeah, so my experience is I've been riding road bikes or bicycles my entire life, but road bikes competitively since 2017. Just like with any like local crit was the one that I did. Then I did a lot of triathlon, but then once I moved down to Charlotte, there's not too much water here, so I primarily focused on road racing. So that's my big thing, and we got this great course to race on.
Heck yeah, man. Well, yeah, this was super exciting for me. I know Spencer couldn't make it today. He had a couple back issues, but he's here. You'll see him as playing paparazzi every now and then, taking photos of us. But I was super excited to be able to, the last race we got to do together was a huge Hincappy crit here at this same course of like half juniors and half Cat 5 racers. So super sketchy race that was. If you haven't seen it, feel free to check it out. But with this race, I knew me and you were going to have a good opportunity to like really do some fun team tactics. And you guys will see that play out here deeper into the race.
And if you just saw, a few seconds ago, we were essentially talking about what the tactics were. I was trying to feel out how Jared was feeling at the time. Where to attack. Jared was telling me, as a bigger guy, I kind of feel always a little bit inclined to attack on the downhill, and this particular course is one that you don't want to attack on, given the fact that you kind of roll back up into a hill. So a big guy like me, who would normally attack on downhills, is suggested not to do so. So I was just, like I was saying, just kind of leading out Jared and seeing how he was feeling at that time.
Yeah, and so to kind of point out some of the heavy hitters, if you look to Bryce's right, this guy in the black bibs, we're coming by him real quick, boom, right there. Striped socks. He has a pretty solid diesel motor. He raced in the previous Mac race with Spencer. Some of us couldn't make it, but Spencer kind of gave us some beta on that guy, and he's a hoss. You'll see later in the race, he'll be on the front doing a ton of work. So I knew, and we were talking to Bryce, like he's a threat. We need to watch him. And we got a couple other guys in here that we've got a little bit of radar on. So it's good to know your field a little bit. But then everyone else is kind of an unknown. So you're kind of learning as you go here.
Yeah, and I'm back off the front at this point, and the reason why is because I knew people were throwing flyers every now and then, but my real intention at this point was really to kind of control the field. Like I said, no one was really trying to do the work. We're sitting in at 300 watts right now, so I'm not killing myself, but I'm just trying to see, just get in the front if no one's going to do the work, and get some fresh wheel. If Jared wants to do an attack, by all means, it would have been a great time to do so, but it was just a time to move to the front, and I would sit in, do my time, but I wasn't going to sit there for too long and burn a match.
Yeah, and to reiterate, like, me and Bryce rotated a lot up on the front. Bryce doing a majority of the work and helping me out. But yeah, there were just certain sections where it's like, you know what, we need to keep the pace high. We need to see if anybody's going to pop off the back and try and get this field a little quieter, a little smaller, and maybe potentially like eliminate some folks and stuff like that. So, but yeah, so we're rolling through this. I think we're about 7 or 8 minutes in right now. Yeah, appreciate everyone coming out and helping us with some side footage and stuff. It gives a good perspective of the course, the field, and kind of, how fast we're going and stuff like that. So sometimes the front cam doesn't do it justice. But I'm coming off the front, doing my pull, rotating nice and easy. I'm catching the draft.
Yeah, I think at this point,
maybe not the draft.
Next wheel back. Well, the thing is, right here is the wind's coming in from the side. We're going straight into it at this point, but you're not putting down watts, right? So that's why you're not falling back. So I kind of pull through. I didn't want you sitting off the front. By all means, you weren't putting up forth an effort, but my intention for this ride was to really kind of protect you. So I didn't want someone to go through an attack, so that's why I kind of went up through the front with an effort to kind of show dominance, but for the sole intention of just controlling the field and making sure that Jared on the front didn't have to cover anything.
Yeah, and this will be like a reoccurrence throughout the race. Like there's only going to be so many people that want to get on the front and put in work. Everyone else is kind of just in the back being lot lizards and kind of just hanging out. Yeah, which if that's their strategy, it is what it is. And a lot of people win bike races that way. But
it's not the Newtype way.
Yeah, we really want to put in the effort and try strategies and work as a team. And if you look, no one else is teamed up in this race. So if you look on the right side, boom, we've got an uphill attack. So this is kind of the first big attack here in a good while, and these three guys do a dig. Like, you were on the front and you just slowly chill out, and I don't know about you, but I've raced with a couple of those guys right there, and they aren't really a threat on getting up and away from us. So I didn't really feel the need to jump on one of those wheels right there. So what are your thoughts going through that? Like, not necessarily racing with those guys before.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't raced with them. My intention of not chasing that down was I just did a pull, and I was trying to be a bit more lazy. Earlier in the race, I had covered a few attacks, and I was beginning to feel it. So I didn't want to push myself to another attack. I knew that chasing that one down where we were in the race wasn't going to be valuable at all, so I just let that one fly, and I figured at some point we were going to chase him down, and if needed I could.
Cool. So there's a gap right there. If I'm counting right, it's about 5 Mississippi. Luckily Black Kid up here gets on the wheel and or gets on the sharp end and starts going, and he really ramps up the race and kind of cuts us a break a little bit and brings them back. So that was super nice. We ended up pulling them back. That attack doesn't go anywhere. So there's an instance right there where we're not on the front having to do work right there. So it was finally nice to see a couple other guys like showing some effort.
Yeah, it was an attack that formed, and luckily we didn't have to chase it down. But at that point I was more than happy to let the group do the work, and it seemed like they were all willing to do it at the time when they swarmed me.
Yeah. Well, as far as that, this series is a 6-race series. Most of us missed the first stop, but I highly recommend anybody in the greater Charlotte area or within like 2 hours, 2 or 3 hours, coming from Atlanta wouldn't be super hard to do. But this course, it's a closed course. Ooh, there's an accordion effect right there. What do you think about that, Bryce?
Yeah, that's typical. That's what's going to happen on the back half of the field. What essentially happens is because the front guys are going a little bit faster, or they have a draft, or the people behind them have a draft, they catch up to them. They're going to have to hit the brakes a bit going into the turn, especially with the lower level riders. They're not as confident at that draft. It's a new experience, so as soon as you get on that straight, it stretches out, and you got to put forth an effort. So. What's going on right here?
We jumped ahead about 24 minutes in. The last 10 minutes have been super chill, but back to the track. Like the city of Rock Hill put this course together for us. It's perfect asphalt, closed course. Oh, whoa!
Guy was off the track.
Man.
So that was our spotted rider from earlier, and he was actually off the track right there. I think Jared actually yells out at it and says something to him, but.
I'm definitely heckling.
You could see actually he just got his wheel crossed as well. So I think I'm off the front at this point, or someone just did an attack, and that's just telltale signs of riders beginning to show fatigue. They're going to start being a little bit more antsy. They're going to be a little bit more jotty. So being on the back, if I was Jared at that point, I really would have taken note of that.
Yeah, and I just thought it was funny. Next time I'll know, yeah, that's probably okay, cool. Like maybe he's getting fatigued. Maybe we should put in something right here. And so yeah, I'm gonna put that in my pocket for next time around, and try that one out. But yeah, again, like we've recognized this guy's super strong, but it doesn't matter how strong you are. Like when you're redlining or you get up there and do multiple pulls or multiple burns, like you can make a mistake. It's happened to all of us. It's gonna happen again. So
and now you see him right now, and I'm actually talking to Jared right now, probably discussing about how this guy attacks, and there he goes off again one more time. So Jared hops on my wheel, and we just sit in. We're going after this guy. We clearly don't want him to break. I guess you don't get on the wheel.
No, there was a couple guys, and this junior rider is looking back. Don't recommend doing that, but when you're tired, you're trying everything you can to stay on wheels. I was trying to be very cautious, conserve, be very smooth, to stay as fresh as possible. So,
and that's that downhill that you've talked about 1,000 times. On this downhill, you do not need to put down watts. That's a time to survive, and like you said, we just saw an attack, and Jared goes off.
Yeah, and so just talk about I'm conserving, being smooth, and I'm gonna blast it up this hill. I love attacking right here. It's super fun. Not necessarily to say I have it in the cards to make this thing stick, but I know everyone's been chasing down our marked rider, and I want to hurt him. I want to drop him. I want to pull him out of the equation, and so this is a perfect opportunity. You were towards the front, hopefully being able to slow them up for me. I wish this guy on my wheel, he continues to look back and check the field. I wish he would just get a little closer to me, communicate, or just talk to me. He doesn't say anything. Hopefully if I'm ever in that situation, I can do the same thing. It's like, hey, chat it up, let them know. He'll shoulder check, and then he just pulls off.
Yeah.
And then I'm just going.
Yeah, I mean, he's acting like he was trying to shut down, like he thought he had the whole group on him, and he was like shutting down that attack. But
yeah,
I mean, if he communicated with you, that could have actually stuck out and turned out to be something.
Yeah. So no big deal. It doesn't go anywhere. But if you don't try, you never know, man. So.
And it's Cat 4-5 racing, and this is the time to figure out what kind of rider you are. If you're someone who needs to break away, if you're someone who just kind of needs to, go wait for the sprint, this is the time to kind of experiment.
Yeah. Jumping ahead, we're 6 laps to go, man. James Pearl's up off the front. He's got the blue metallic Cannondale. Super solid rider.
Orange bars.
Yeah, man. Trick Daddy, James Pearl. He's got dad strength, and when he makes moves, you need to follow him. Super confident rider, and boom, our marked rider goes again. He's relentless. He is relentless, and so we've got to cover this. Luckily, we have enough riders to fill in, and I just hop on your wheel right here.
Yeah, I knew that it was essentially a point in time where you just had to get on the wheel. If you didn't have it, you didn't have it. Jared even gets a little separation from the guy behind him. You just had to cover that, whether you had the fitness or not. That was kind of a milestone within the race where if we probably dropped a few people back there. But yeah, that was a great attack by our marked rider. But we had him identified, and we knew that was something that needed to be looked out for.
Yeah, if you check, he gets gapped. James is up here on the front, and he lets our marked rider get a gap. And I'm threatened by this. Like, if he gets any further out, like, he could go. And if we relax just enough, the field, you can tell, like Bryce said, is strung out, single file. And, we need to keep this guy in our sights. So coming out of this hairpin, I chatted up with everybody and let them know. But unfortunately, James is up on the front. He does his pull, and when he rotates out, the guy in the black kit doesn't want to pull through, which totally understand. But when they let up,
and
we got to go.
Yeah.
And I yell at Bryce and James, and Bryce does a great job of just hossing it.
Yeah, the big thing there was that, it was starting to form. He had attacked, he was chipping away at the mountain. So the group was certainly hurt. So we're coming up on him, and this is a great example of pull through. And he does this crazy, tries to run into me to slow me down. But
it almost worked. It almost worked.
So I was pulling through it. I just, he was a marked rider. Jared was on me, and I wanted to turn the knife a bit, and that was a great time to do that. Essentially, just pull through, hit him with 300 watts, 400 watts as I pull through, and make him have to get out of his saddle one more time to get back on the wheel.
It didn't work. He's hella strong.
Unfortunately not.
Yeah, he's 2 wheels behind me right now, and it's hard to attack on the downhill on this course. If it was a different point in the track, we might have got him. We might have really got him. But it doesn't work. But no big deal. We keep rolling through this. We're gonna jump ahead in the action here in a second. But how are you feeling right now at this point in the race?
I think that attack at that point, my heart rate at that very point.
Oh, so wait, real quick. Yeah, forgot. So he's going to counter freaking animal, and Bryce does his pull, so I have to cover this. And luckily, somebody in the back, it may have been James, set up, and I caught the wheel. And oh my gosh, dude. I'm like following him. I'm like, what is going on? Like, how is this possible? Check the rear cam. This guy behind me, he's tired. And I'm just holding on. And you, luckily, there's enough of the field left where you kind of just slot in and get brought up the hill.
Yeah, I was a slack climb at that point. I wanted everyone to kind of pull me up so I could do less watts on my way up, because I was hurting at that point, just bridging that gap. Everyone at this point's hurting. And ideally, Jared, I know your heart rate's at 192. This would have been a fantastic time to, lay another one on the group, and it probably would have stuck if you wanted it to.
I would have died.
But yeah, it's hard to figure out. But like you said earlier, is it a good time to attack? You don't know if you've never tried. 5
laps to go on this course, being a 1.1 mile, is still pretty deep. If my heart rate was a little lower, my max heart rate's 202, but being in the low 190s is tough. But if I was maybe feeling just a little fresher, I like that strategy that you just laid out. So
yeah, as much as it's hurting you got to think he's probably put in a little bit more effort if he's been on the front, at least 15% more. But we just jumped ahead, so where are we at right now?
2 laps to go, and we're gonna roll through these final 2 laps all the way to the finish. It's getting a little sketchy, my dog.
So yeah, we got 2 to go. Everyone's really tired.
Oh yeah, gripped.
Yeah, people are pretty tired at this point, and I talked to Jared about our intentions at the end of the race was to kind of me to lead him out. So I knew at this point, in order to kind of keep everyone at bay, I needed to do an attack at this point to kind of get everyone a bit tired. So I put on the gas a bit to kind of string them up the hill.
Bro, you're a machine, bro.
If there was anyone big, they were going to have a hard time covering it. But I wanted to get off the front, kind of string everyone out, so that would kind of settle everyone's jitters, so they didn't come into 1 to go and kind of have that energy that I just had. So if I could kind of get everyone a bit more tired, Jared would have a better attack later into the, no one was going to reduce Jared's fitness. And he's sitting in at 300 watts, which is perfect. What you want.
And my gosh, dude, that was a hero attack right there late in the race. Awesome attack. You get a bit of a break, but again, our marked rider is a freaking machine, and he just diesels his way back to you. And here's a final shot from the sideline of the group, and we didn't really drop that many riders throughout the race. So in my opinion, I probably should have been a little bit smarter and realized, hey, like, most of the field is still pretty fresh. So next time we'll probably need to think about that a little bit more, of like how many people have actually done work. So
yeah, and that guy that guy was a titan this race, and we should have been a bit more cognizant of the amount of work that he put forth, because towards the end of the race, spoilers, I mean, he really does, flash out.
He does nothing.
And this is another case where, a lot of people were just giving extra energy out. We had a crosswind at this point, and I'm screaming at him, telling him to get on the right side to gutter people out, but he ended up not doing that. So, we're racing not at the highest level, so there's going to be some mistakes.
Yeah, we make them all the time. So
at that point, we're getting into last lap. People are only thinking about finishing in that $100 finish.
Yeah.
Wait, is there money for this one?
No, you get high fives and a bag of Doritos, bro.
And the pizza qualm.
No, the only thing I'm here for is the points. So, super cool. But yeah, luckily some guys kind of string it out a little bit. I'm kind of constantly watching James and Bryce is checking, making sure I'm on his tail.
Yeah, I'm really making sure that Jared's behind me, because we have the same intentions of doing this. I have the same intentions of coming into this and doing the same exact thing. But
yeah,
you'll see my absolutely terrible execution in just a few minutes. So I'm stuck on the inside.
The last lap is the moneymaker right here. So
yeah, so I'm stuck there, and I'm really trying to get out. I have to hit the brakes. Jared yells at me, and I just hit it. And I hit it, and then I look back, and Jared's not on my wheel. So at this point,
it was a bit too early.
Yeah, and it was just bad communication and execution on my end. So my attack flares out, and this is a great example of, what to do in that situation.
So Bryce went too early, but it ends up, there was a second play to this, and this is kind of how it unfolded. And so he kind of lit everybody up, and everyone's like, oh wait, it is the last lap. We do have to go. And I'm putting out watts, but I'm putting out just enough to slowly kind of creep around everybody, and they do. No one pushes me out of the way, and then boom, I come out of the corner. I'm second wheel.
On the marked rider.
I'm
exactly
like, yo, sign me up. This is where I want to be. This entire 50 minutes, is coming together perfectly. He's checking shoulders, and right here, this is a great spot to be single file, look in the rear cam. They're doubled up, they're kind of boxed in, especially the polka dot rider. He's boxed in by the tall guy. Well, boom, marked rider stands up. He doesn't go anywhere, and
your heart rate drops.
As soon as I realize I need to go around him, we're getting swarmed, and I'm not going to cause a crash. I'm not going to come around left and do that. And so I'm literally having to wait and buy my time to get around him, and I'm on James Pearl's wheel. And at this point, in my opinion, if you want to contend for the sprint, you need to be out of that turn either first or second, and because the sprint's super short. And I do my dig that I can, and it is what it is, man. So, Bryce, thanks for coming on, dude. Super fun.
Thanks for having me, man.
All right, guys. Till next time. See you later.
Newtype cycling.
Oh, Newtype cycling.